All right, welcome back to the Wealth Outside of Wall Street YouTube channel, where you learn how to take your money off of Wall Street, take complete control over your finances, and learn how to become financially free in 10 years or less. Now today, my friends, we're gonna be doing a YouTube video review. I like doing these reviews because I truly believe that our perspective determines our action. Therefore, if we don't like the results that we're getting today, then usually those results are the sum effect of the actions that we've taken for the last 3 to 5 years, compounding and leading to the results that we have today. Therefore, if we want different results, we have to change our perspective. We have to change our paradigm. We have to change the way we see the world so we act differently and start getting different results. So in this video, we're going to be reviewing a financial advisor's explanation of should you pay your mortgage off early. Now, this is a really important question, and it comes up all the time. It's a question that I've had to answer in my own financial plan. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you my solution of how I'm choosing to deal with my own mortgage today. But let's dive in and let's see what this advisor has to say and evaluate your perspective when it comes to debt, interest, and ultimately money.
Hey guys, so in this video, we're going through the math on whether it's better to pay off your mortgage early or invest. Usually, if you are trying to answer this question, it means that you have extra money left over after you pay all of your bills for the month, and now you're just trying to optimize the remaining dollars that you have. So first off, I just want to say if that is you, congratulations, because most people are not in this situation, as the gross personal savings rate in America is around 3.6%, and many people are living paycheck to paycheck. Now, in order to figure out what is best for you, it's going to depend on a lot of factors, but the biggest factor is your mortgage interest rate. We're first going to talk about how the mortgage payment is broken down, because understanding how it works is absolutely key in figuring out what's right for you. Then once we understand that, we can actually answer what makes the most sense mathematically and financially, and then in addition, I'll share some strategies to help you pay off your home early if that's what you're interested in, and other intangibles to consider when it comes to paying off the mortgage early or investing. All right, so
Okay, first off, I like this guy's methodology up to this point.
You serious?
I mean, it's a very structured, very methodical, and ultimately we're going to be using math. I think it's important to understand the math, but that's not the only thing we need to understand inside of answering this question. So let's keep going.
at a really basic level, when you get a mortgage, you're buying a home with borrowed money from your bank. You must then pay back the sum that you borrowed with interest over time, because hey, that's how banks make money. So let's say you borrow $400,000 to buy a house and you get the standard 30-year fixed rate mortgage. The bank will make it really easy for you and break down how much you need to pay them back on a monthly basis for the next 30 years or 360 payments. So each monthly payment is broken down into 2 components, and understanding this is really vital in answering this whole question that we have today. The first component is you borrowed a large sum of money, so you need to pay that back over the 30 years, and this is called the principal. The second part of the payment is the interest on the total sum of the money that you borrowed. So interest on whatever remaining balance you haven't paid off yet. So on a $400,000 loan over 30 years at a 7% interest rate, your interest payment is always going to be represented as the following. It's your balance remaining times the interest rate, or 7%, divided by 12 months, and that is your monthly payment of interest. So in the first month of your $400,000 mortgage, your payment is going to be roughly $2,660. But here's the really fascinating or messed up part, depending on how you view finance. A mortgage follows what's called an amortization schedule, which is just a fancy table that details each monthly payment on a loan. In month 1 of your payment, your $2,660 payment is broken up into the 2 components that we talked about earlier, but here's the crazy thing: $2,333 of it goes towards interest, and only $327 of your payment goes towards the total amount that you actually owe for the house.
Okay, so here's the argument that this individual's making, and he's not wrong, okay? In the beginning with a mortgage, depending on what your interest rate is, you're going to be paying a significant sum of your overall payment towards the bank in the cost of interest. Because your loan is amortizing over 30 years, the bank is front loading the amortization, the interest, in the very beginning of the loan. So it's likely, as he further goes through this, that the interest rate that or the interest expense that you're going to have is going to equal or even supersede the actual amount of your mortgage. Now, is this good or bad? Well, it's nothing, right? It's not good or bad. It's how we look at it that will make it either good or bad for us. When you're making an investment decision, here's the thing I want you to consider. The sole purpose of money is it's a tool. And think about this, take the context of money out of your mind for just a minute and put the concept of a hammer. The purpose of a hammer isn't to be a hammer, it's to do something, it's to hang a picture. So in order for you to think about money the same way, the purpose of money isn't just to be something, it's to do something. This now opens up the most powerful perspective that you can have around money. You have a limited source of money, and everything you do with your money has both a real cost to it as well as an opportunity cost. Now, no doubt, if you choose to take extra dollars that you have and pay off a mortgage early, you will reduce the cost of interest going towards a bank. That is, in definition, a mathematical reality. But the opportunity cost is what else you could have done with the money had you not sent additional money to the bank. Now, answering this question is unique to you. We have to answer it in two ways. Number one, we have to look at it from a return on investment standpoint. Can you get a better return on investment paying off your bank mortgage early or investing elsewhere? That's number one to look at it. Number two is a return on attention. Is it giving you the emotional, the well-being, the benefit, the satisfaction that you want by paying off a mortgage early, or could that money be better utilized elsewhere? Balancing these two things out, a return on investment and a return on attention, will help you make more deliberate and intentional decisions with your money. But here's the most important decision-making process I want to give you. Inside of money being a tool to do something, you have to define what you want your money to do for you. Have you ever asked yourself that question? What do I want this dollar bill, this $20 bill, this $100 bill, what do I want it to do as a tool for me? Now, on this channel, we have a very clear objective, a very clear definition of success. It's financial freedom. Financial freedom in 10 years or less. And with that definition as the metric, we can now start to evaluate decisions, good or bad, based on that metric alone. If we are on track to being financially free within 10 years and we still have extra money left over, now we can make a decision of second order consequence.
That's well played.
Do I want to pull that time frame in sooner? If I have extra money, do I want to invest more so I can become financially free not in 10 years, but maybe 7, 6, or 5 years? Or would it give me a higher return on attention to pay off my mortgage first? Now again, I'm going to give you what I'm doing with my mortgage at the end of this video, but it's very, very critically important when you're making decisions with money that you have a definition of success in mind that you can measure against. Without it, you're just looking at random facts, random details, and it's hard to know if it's the right decision to make for you.
And this is actually how mortgages work. The banks front load all of the interest payments because they need to get paid first, but by doing so, you don't really ever make a dent in the principal balance, aka how much you owe, until way later in the life of the loan. And this becomes problematic because you're being charged interest on the remaining balance that you owe, and if you're never making a dent in the principal, it can seem kind of hopeless. It's so shocking, in fact, that in the first 20 years out of a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, your interest payments actually still exceed the amount that you pay on the principal on every single monthly payment. Said differently, that means in the first 20 years or 240 payments, the majority of your payments are still going towards the bank and not towards paying back your loan. In fact, if we take a look at the yearly amortization schedule right here, you can see at the end of year 20, you will still owe $229,200 on your house. So you're 66% through the mortgage already in terms of time elapsed, but you've only paid off 42.75% of the sum that you originally borrowed. Talk about disproportional. And oftentimes with mortgages, the amount of interest that you pay could easily be equal to or more than the amount that you actually borrowed. If you borrowed $400,000 for 30 years at an interest rate of 7%, the total amount of interest that you pay is actually $558,035. And that's where the loan was only for $400,000 in the first place. That brings the total amount that you paid for this loan to be $958K. Now, if your interest rate were 5%, you would have paid $373,000 in interest over the life of the loan. And if your interest rate was 3%, you will pay $207,109 over the life of the loan. All pretty crazy. So this is pretty eye-opening. That means if we can reduce our principal balance as soon as we can, we could actually not only pay off our mortgage faster, we can reduce the total amount of interest that we pay, saving us a ton of money in the long run. All right, hopefully you're still with me. The next part is actually very interesting. So if you're enjoying this so far, make sure to subscribe to the channel. It's completely free and only takes 0.1 seconds or less. So let's actually examine now what stock market returns look like.
Okay, I'm gonna pause it right here for just a moment. Likely won't comment too much on this because now I think what he's going to do is give you an alternative of what you could do with your money. Could you invest your money in something like the stock market and get a better return? The answer is probably yeah, but whatever he says here is going to negate the point that I made earlier because at the end of the day, you have to define what success is for you. Now, for me, one of my key tenets when it comes to money is control. I want to have as much control over my money as I possibly can. I know that no one will ever care more about the success of my money, my goals, and my future than me. So therefore, I spend time raising my financial intelligence, making smart decisions with the tool of money to get me the objectives that I ultimately want. If this is a tenet that you also have, more control inside of your financial plan, I want you to consider this. Every dollar that you send to the bank, even if it's paying off your mortgage early, is a dollar that you're losing control over. It's very difficult. Let's say you spend $100,000 paying down your mortgage early, but then something comes up in your life and you need access to capital. Rather than having that $100,000 available to you, you now have to go ask the bank for a home equity line of credit or some form of a loan to get access to the equity in your home. So you've lost a level of control inside of your own financial life. Now for me, here's what I choose. I choose to keep my mortgage 100%. I'm gonna pay off my mortgage over the next 30 years and likely refinance it to kick it out even longer than that. I want the bank to carry the majority of my debt for a longer and a longer period of time. I want you to think about this from a standard of inflation. 30 years from now, when I give the bank the very last mortgage check, how much is my mortgage check going to actually be worth? With a fixed interest rate loan, every time I make a payment to the bank, yeah, it has interest associated with it, but I'm paying them back with less and less and less valuable dollars. Therefore, I get to keep my most valuable dollars, the money I have today, and turn around and invest it in building my net worth and ultimately my wealth and cash flow. This, for me, is my preferential pathway to building my wealth. I rather use the bank's money to finance a home, take a tax deduction on that mortgage, keep control over my money, invest it in a way that will build up my cash flow, and pay the bank back with less and less valuable dollars over time. Furthermore, one of the things that I'm doing inside of my own game plan today is I want to have enough liquidity stacked up inside of my high cash value life insurance policy that at any moment in time, I could access that capital and pay off my mortgage tomorrow. That for me is the definition of being debt free. I'm okay if I have the form of debt in the form of a mortgage, as long as I can balance that debt with liquidity and capital that I control. Now, to really end this video off, let's watch just a little bit more about what this individual says about the concept of investing versus paying off your mortgage.
Look like, and actually whether or not it makes sense to pay off your mortgage early or invest. Now, when it comes to investing, quote, the S&P 500's average annualized return since adopting 500 stocks into the index in 1957 is around 10.26%.
Okay. For the sake of time, I'm gonna stop the video right there because I know where this individual is going. No matter what he says at this point, we're working with inaccurate information. It is irrelevant what the stock market does. That's not what you, the individual investor or speculator, if you've watched some of my other videos, are actually receiving. There are fees, there are taxes, there are the emotions of investing. There's what the market does and what the individual gets, and those two numbers are radically different. Given a long enough period of time, the average investor in the market earns between 3 to 5%, even when the S&P is doing 10 or higher. So my friends, make using the market as a benchmark measurement of should I pay off my mortgage early, that is irrelevant in my view, because at the end of the day, we still haven't defined what it is we're trying to accomplish. Are we just trying to get a higher rate of return? If so, what is the rate of return that would make that trade-off worthwhile? For us, again, at Wealth Outside of Wall Street, and I hope this is coming true for you as well, the definition of success is financial freedom. Assets that produce income, owning my time in 10 years or less. Any question that I ask is measured underneath that filter of success. So with that in mind, my friends, here's my request of you. If this video gave you some insight, some perspective, do something about it. Share this with a friend. Friends don't let friends retire broke, and I want you to share this with someone just like you who's asking a pivotal question. This question comes up with almost every single person I sit down and meet with in their financial plan. Should I pay my home off early? It's a valid question, and there isn't really a right answer. There's a return on investment, and there's a return on attention. So my friends, if this video is helpful, share it with someone that you know, like, and trust, and join me on the next video where we'll continue the conversation of pulling your money off Wall Street, building your wealth, and achieving financial freedom in 10 years or less. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. You must care about your money and your ability to retire. So subscribe, watch another video, and stay on the channel so we can help you make even more money and retire even faster. We'll see you on the next one.